everyone. This is Adlane Fellah, Chief Analyst at Maravedis. It's my great pleasure to welcome today Alejandro Piñero, who's the Event Director at Broadband Nation Expo. So how are you today?
Great, Adlane, and congratulations on your spotless pronunciation. I'm already impressed.
Thank you. You and I have known each other for a few years now already, but this is the first time I have the opportunity to cover your Broadband Nation Expo. I'm also happy to be one of the judges for the FIRST Awards, so really appreciate the relationship between FIRST and Maravedis. So wanted to share with the audience here some of the key themes and tracks to expect this year at Broadband Nation. So what can you tell us about what to expect?
Yeah, so we have an exciting year. We've moved the event to Orlando, Florida. This is going to be our third edition. We've been in Washington, D.C. for the last two. And the move is not only in location, but also in the focus that we've given the event as a whole. We're still very much looking at end-to-end access and really bringing all the technologies together that provide access throughout America. And that's really been the ethos of the event from day one. In fact, our tagline is end-to-end broadband. And we don't mean just the technology. We mean from the funding, the deployment, the technology, and also the impact that connectivity has on communities. And we'll be there November 17th through 19th. And our mission is to bring together the ecosystem. So the connectivity providers, the vendors, government, states, cities, tribal communities, bring in anyone and everyone that's working on connecting their constituents to talk about it and move past the debate of wireless versus wireline or, satellite versus whatever. We just want to focus on connecting everyone, and that's very much the theme. So our core themes are on fiber, on wireless. We also touch on the technology, of course, and then also workforce development, which we know is a big topic to bring people into the broadband industry. That's something that we work with our partners at TIA on as well. And finally, the funding, right? Whether it's public or private, this has moved beyond a would like to have, and this is a must-have. People need connectivity, so we need to figure out how to build it and how to pay for that.
Yeah. I know with convergence, the old definition of fixed versus mobile is kind of outdated, but is this mostly a fixed broadband event, just for the people that are not familiar with it?
Yeah, the way the cookie crumbles when it goes into broadband is that a lot of the funding and a lot of the dollars available do go towards wireline technology, right? So that's inevitably going to be a large part of the discussion. I know, with the changes in how public funding is working, that there's a move towards being technology agnostic and neutral, which is exactly where this event was born 3 years ago. But, we still have large players from the wireless side. AT&T is one of our biggest sponsors. So it's very much a show that brings together all the different access technologies. But sure, we do have a lot of ISPs, large and small, coming and talking about their fiber projects and existing projects as well.
Okay, great.
Hello, everyone. This is Adlane Fellah. I'm a Chief Research Analyst at Maravedis. Maravedis is a boutique wireless infrastructure analyst firm since 2002. Of the last 2 decades, we have been helping customers with research, consulting, and marketing services. Some of the areas we cover include the convergence of Wi-Fi and cellular. In fact, we're known for our long-standing relationship with the Wireless Broadband Alliance, for which we have produced the industry annual report. We have 3 ways to work with us, from marketing essentials for startups to large custom projects. We can discuss those projects individually. And those are some of the customers we have helped in the past. So feel free to reach out to us to further discuss your research needs. Thank you.
Can you describe, the keynote speakers you're most excited about?
Sure. So we have over 100 speakers. It's a big year for this event. The big partnership that we're very excited about, and we've been doing this for the last years, with the state of Florida. So they have partnered with Broadband Nation to help drive that workforce development piece and attract a new generation of fiber technicians and splicers and just everything end to end to the state of Florida. And that also involves building the education program, certification, et cetera, in state. So we have the Commerce Secretary for the state of Florida, Alex Kelly, joining us, and that's going to be really exciting because it's been quite a year politically in the United States, with a lot of changes, with a lot of moving parts, and broadband is no different. So just hearing at that level in the state of how they're thinking about broadband, that's going to be key. Something that we're really excited about is, the move to Orlando has helped us get really focused on the CSPs, on the connectivity service providers. So we have over 60 CSPs joining us. But some that I would highlight, we have Josh Turiano from Bluestream Fiber, and that's really exciting because he's talking exclusively about how they're using AI to drive their deployments and also drive their workforce. We've got FirstNet coming in to talk about not only first response, but also how they work with tribal nations and communities across the United States to provide services through broadband for emergency response. And then we have, cities like the city of Charlotte, Fair Lawn, Ohio, Fort Pierce, Florida, many different cities coming in to talk about their own, municipal broadband projects, which is a big piece of the puzzle in the end, where incumbents don't come in for whatever reason. These municipalities are taking a big role. As I mentioned, AT&T, Erin Scarborough will be there. She's a long-term supporter of the event and our project, and she'll be delivering a keynote there on their projects around connecting everyone. So vast array of speakers, but that's a glimpse of some of the 120 plus that we've got.
Okay, that sounds exciting. Now, what kind of sessions between technical, policy, innovation, or event breakouts are you planning, and how are they designed to be useful for different roles, like an ISP attorney versus government regulator versus a provider?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, in the past, the distinction was very clear. So we were able to just build things for wireline or wireless, and they would kind of stick to their own corner and talk to each other when they really needed to. I think that's a thing of the past, right? As we've discussed in the past, right? So that convergence is there. So we find that there's commonalities and common points of interest between all of these communities. And there's also an interest in hearing from the funding side, so private and public. So the way that we build our agenda is we have a pre-event workshop that really focuses on the getting shovels on the ground. So really the different aspects that you need to think about as you get your project into that stage. So that goes into funding. So we have private equity players, we have folks coming in from the public sector as well to talk about how that's working. We have states coming to share their experience over the last year in going through that whole process. So that's really the first day, and that's really quite a high level but intense series of sessions. Then we have our general keynotes, which are more high level. That's where we get all the strategic thinking and viewing from anyone that is affecting policy or even large-scale deployments across the United States. And then we do just split the tracks into the different technologies, although it's becoming harder to do that as I just mentioned, right? But we do have still a wireless track or wireline track, so that if there are very specific, more practitioner level challenges that we can address there, we can talk about. For example, we'll have something on middle mile when it comes to wireline. We'll have more talks on building wireless networks and FWA and so forth on wireless. Something that we're very excited about for this year as well is we have a breakfast hosted by Fierce Network, entirely focused on the role of fiber and connectivity in the deployment of data centers. Obviously, a huge topic that's coming up, and that's going to be of increased interest for our connectivity partners, ISPs across the United States. So we'll be covering that in detail as well in the agenda, but we'll also have a specific session. So we try to build the agenda so that it finds the common points of interest and challenges and build solutions together. Because as I said, at the top, this is how the event was built from the start.
Okay, it's great. What about those that are not necessarily interested in hearing the sessions, but they go there for networking? Tell us about the expo floor and how can they mingle with their peers?
Yeah, absolutely. So we build our events networking first. So this is something that I've written about as well quite extensively on LinkedIn and talked about with peers. Our role as the organizer of this platform is short to create some thought leadership opportunities, but in the end of the day is to create connections. So that's how we build our events. So, we'll have your usual networking opportunities, the networking breakfast, which are topic led. We'll also, the fact that we're in a property in Orlando gives us the opportunity to do different things. So we're having a Top Golf tournament for our attendees so they can meet and in a different, more sort of informal setting. And something that I did want to highlight is the Broadband Nation Connect, which we're doing this year for the first time at scale. We've actually subsidized the travel for 25 Tier 2 and Tier 3 ISPs. So these are smaller outfits that are working towards deployment or have networks that they need to invest in. So these are folks that have direct purchasing power and are looking to find these partners to bring their projects into the ground and into people's homes and businesses. So we'll have these 25 folks. And the way we set that up is that we just facilitate their networking across the footprint of the event. So we're really excited for that. We've had already great feedback. Of course, we have our app, which uses AI to connect folks and suggest meetings. And, I think we do something quite different between the Connect, but also we use about a third of our floor plan as just meeting tables for folks to have space and the location to meet, whether or not they have a booth. So that's a large part of what we're doing.
Okay, great. That looks like a very exciting event. So just a reminder for the folks out there, Broadband Nation Expo is the ultimate event for end-to-end broadband and innovation, taking place in Orlando, November 17 to 19. That's coming fast. And well, I personally hope to be there and have the opportunity to moderate some panels. But yeah, I want to thank you, Alejandro, for sharing your insights, and hope to see you there. Please like, share, subscribe this video, and until the event. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Adlane, for having me. And absolutely, now you're on the hook. You got to join us in Orlando. I look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you. Cheers.
Take care.